This is my Spotted Turtle Koa, and a couple of weeks ago we made her a giant new enclosure. However, at the end of that video I revealed there's a couple of little details we first need to address before we can introduce this little rascal.
And the work we have to do today includes adding the heat bulb, a screen top, hiding the lights from view, some general maintenance, introduce the cleanup crew, and finally, of course, adding Koa to the new tank.
So in this video we're gonna address all of that and then introduce our crazy little turtle. Anyway, before we get started with the new tank, we'll first add her back into her old tank. And the first thing we need to do is turn off the heat lamp back there because it is hot and we need it in the other tank.
And while the heat lamp is cooling down, I started working on addressing the screen top. Off camera I already made a simple wooden frame and painted it black. Something like a window screen frame would probably work better, but doing it this way is a lot cheaper and I wanted to see if it was viable. Now I also should mention that I started using aluminum screen. It's a bit more expensive, but I noticed that crickets can chew their way out of the old screen I was using. And for obvious reasons, I don't like that, so from now on I'll be using aluminum screens on all of my tanks. Anyway, with the screen now done, it could be added to the tank. The heat lamp has had enough time to cool down by now, so we can add it as well. Next there was a little maintenance. Unfortunately, not all the plants took too well to this setup and some died off, so a little maintenance was required. I took out any dead plants and replaced some of the moss. And after a quick water change, it was finally time to introduce Koa.
Now for the cleanup crew, we already have a lot of springtails in there, we already have some earthworms in there, and a couple of isopods that I over the weeks slowly gathered and added them in there. But now for the real deal with the isopods.
And by simply dumping in the final batch of isopods, this tank is now fully bioactive. Now there's a lot more to do in the animal room. I'm not gonna bore you with every little detail that needs to be done, but since Koa's old tank is now empty, I took it down and I took apart the old stand. I also drained the frog tank, which meant I can now move that stand.
Okay, so I realized that it is very random that we moved this stand, and even more so that it was just a little bit, but allow me to give you some context and a little bit of a sneak preview of a few projects that I have planned. Okay, first off, by moving this stand, we have just enough space over on this side to add two more stands. One over here, I already made the frames for the different levels of the stand, and another one over here. And I'm gonna spill a little bit of the details of what I'm planning, but I'm gonna keep most of it a secret. Over here, I'm gonna build two vertical setups, and over here two horizontal ones. And well, I have a tank over here that I made a little bit of modifications to for an animal that I plan on getting relatively soon, and it's gonna live in this tank for a little while, but ultimately it will live in one of the tanks I'm gonna put over on this side. And I still need to get rid of most of this stuff. Some of it gets reorganized into other parts of the animal room, and some parts I'm just gonna throw away or sell off or anything. We just need to clear this space. And then we can build two new stands for 4 new tanks, not all of them for new animals, and that's pretty much it what I'm gonna say about these stands. Now that said, these 4 tanks aren't the first projects I'm gonna pick up after I'm done with this video. That will be this tank over here. I got a pretty cool scale plan that I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna like. That's it, I'm not gonna say anything more, so definitely let me know down in the comments what you think I'll be keeping in either of those 4 tanks. I'm very curious to see what you think, and yeah, that's about all the preview you're getting. I got a lot more projects planned for the future, but I'm keeping all of those a secret. Now let's get back to the turtle tank. Alright, back at the turtle tank, Koa is right over there and she is absolutely enjoying her new tank. We introduced her about 3 weeks ago now, and she's clearly loving this new tank. She is exploring. She was a bit skittish at first, and it did concern me slightly that she wasn't basking at first. But for about a week now she's been basking, so that's really nice, and I'm really loving this tank. Now we also did add a couple of new plants to replace some of them that died. We got a new vining plant that I added in a couple locations, and I also added 2 dandelions back there. I just took them out of my yard. I don't use any pesticides, so I know they're safe. I think the dandelions will add a lot to the setup, and I can't wait to actually see them flower in here. If she eats them, they're very healthy, so that's really nice. And yeah, I think that's about, no wait, it's not about it. We added one more thing. Let's zoom out a little so you can see it better. We added this board up top. Now I didn't record anything of making this thing because it's just a wooden board with a edge that I trimmed off and then stained it, and then to attach it I added these, will let the camera focus on it, we added these little eyes, I'd like to call them, and then some hooks in the stand, and then I can just attach them on the hooks. It's nothing fancy, but it works really well. Yeah, just like that. Alright, this is a much better angle to enjoy the tank. As you can see, the new board up here is hiding the lights and everything matches. It looks really good. I'm very happy with all of this. All of the finished pieces, they really give a feeling of like a picture frame around a piece of art, right? So obviously the tank is the main focus. I'm really happy with that, but having all of this around it, it's really nice bonus. I really like it. Now there's one more thing I want to mention. Some of you guys recommended some fish for me to add in this setup, and I'm really happy with that. My favorite option was the mosquito fish, but after a quick Google search I found that they are invasive in Europe, and because of that you are not allowed to keep them in Europe anymore since a couple of years ago. So that's a bummer. They would have been a really great addition to this tank, and I've been looking for more fish, but most of them get quite big, and I want something small, something very guppy-like, and I'm currently leaning towards getting new guppies for this tank, but then go with a gray variety without any bright colors to make it feel more natural and more closely mimic the mosquito fish. So if you guys have any suggestions for a small fish, preferably from the Spotted Turtles native range, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. But that's about it for this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you're hungry for more content, I recommend you watch this video next. I'll see you there.